What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing, and today I'm going to be predicting the outcome of Canelo Alvarez versus Billy Joe Saunders, which is going to be a 12-rounder for the unified WBA, WBC, and WBO Super-Middleweight World Championship. And this fight is going to be Saturday, May 8th, from the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. And this fight is going to be broadcasted on DAZN. And again, both fighters, Canelo Alvarez fighting out of Mexico, he holds a record of 55 wins, 1 defeat, and 2 draws, with 37 wins coming by way of knockout. He is currently ranked number 1 by BoxRec in the super middleweight division and number 1 on my pound-for-pound list, as well as many around the world. He is a 4-division and 5-time world champion, and he is the current unified WBC and WBA super middleweight world champion. I'm just going to be getting into his resume, his losses, his draws, and his most notable wins. But his only defeat comes to Floyd Mayweather Jr., who he did lose to via majority decision, although it should have been a wide unanimous decision. But his draws come to Gennady Golovkin in their first fight, although I thought Triple G won that fight. I scored at 116-112 in favor of Triple G. But his other draw comes back when he was like 15 to 16 years old, early on in his career, so that doesn't really matter too much. But his best victories and his most notable ones come to Austin Trout, where he did win via majority decision. He also beat Erislandy Lara via split decision. He also beat Shane Mosley, Miguel Cotto, Gennady Golovkin, aka Triple G, in their rematch. He also beat Daniel Jacobs, Sergey Kovalev, Callum Smith, and he's coming off of a knockout victory over Avni Yildirim back in February. And to get into his opponent's resume, Billy Joe Saunders, fighting out of the United Kingdom, he holds a record of 30 wins, no defeats, of 14 wins coming by way of knockout. He is currently ranked number 3 by BoxRec in the super middleweight division. He is a 2-weight world champion and the current WBO super middleweight world champion, as well as a former WBO middleweight world champion. He won the WBO middleweight world title against Andy Lee, who he did drop multiple times and won. I believe it was a majority decision, although I thought Saunders won pretty clear. He also defended that belt against Artur Arkavov, Willie Monroe, and David Lemieux. But he also beat, at middleweight, he beat John Ryder, and he also beat Chris Eubank Jr. in a split decision, although I thought that Saunders won that fight with his beautiful boxing skill. But at super middleweight, he beat Shafat Isufi for the vacant WBO super middleweight world title, and since then he has defended it against Marcelo Coceres in an underwhelming performance, and he also beat Martin Murray back in December of 2020, winning via unanimous decision. In my opinion, this fight could go one of two ways. It could either be Canelo just dominating Billy Joe Saunders if he steps in with the wrong style, or it could be Billy Joe Saunders putting on a boxing masterclass and beating Canelo, because Billy Joe Saunders wanted a big ring for this fight. At first, it was going to be only an 18-foot ring, which I believe is like the standard regulation size for Texas. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But, yes, Saunders wanted a big ring, and I believe that Eddie Hearn made his promise and made it a 22-foot ring. So that's going to be very, very good for Saunders. Because if it was an 18-foot ring, I could have just seen Canelo just dictating the pace, cutting off the ring for Saunders, making his legs tired, and just breaking him down. But with this big ring, Saunders could just box off the back foot, jab Canelo to the face, and even though this fight could be a boring fight that sees Saunders jabbing Canelo and outworking him on the outside, not on the inside, because Canelo outworks almost all of his opponents on the inside, Saunders could make it a very, very boring and controversial fight, similar to the Erislandy Lara fight. And many people actually say, oh, Canelo's done horrible against fighters with good footwork and who are southpaws. But you got to remember, those fights were years ago. But still, they could have a lingering effect, as Canelo hasn't faced a southpaw, I believe, until the Austin Trout fight. And that Trout fight was disputed. Some people thought it was a draw. Some people thought it could have went either way. But I thought Canelo won that fight pretty clear, even with a knockdown. But Billy Joe Saunders, as super middleweight, he has not performed too well, because I actually thought Marcelo Coceres was beating him, and Coceres, although he had a outstanding record, still he fought no one, and it was very, very padded as he came to the United States for the first time. And I believe that this is Saunders' second time in the U.S., because his first time, as I was saying before, was against Coceres. But at super middleweight, he hasn't really boxed. At middleweight, I love seeing his boxing counter-punching style. That style worked to win him the world title. It worked to win every single round against David Lemieux. It worked to beat Chris Eubank, where he outboxed him. It worked to drop Andy Lee with some beautiful counters and win many rounds. So if he is able to box against Canelo, it could be very, very close. But Canelo Alvarez always comes forward. He has beautiful hooks to the body and to the head, and I'm not really too sure how Billy Joe Saunders will react to those brutal hooks to the body, because that's really Canelo's trademark punch, or should I say uppercuts to the body as well. But Canelo Alvarez has looked tremendous in his last 2 fights. He was able to beat Callum Smith wide on the judges' scorecards. I believe I scored that fight like 10-2 or 11-1 in favor of Canelo, and he was also able to knock Adam Yildirim out in a stay busy fight. But, yeah, this fight could really be very, very close. But I think that Canelo will edge it out. I don't really see the judges giving Saunders this fight because it is in Texas. Canelo is the A-side here. But I believe that Canelo Alvarez will win a unanimous decision. But it really ponders what the scorecards will be. I think it could range from 115 to 113, if not 116 to 112. But being that it's in Texas, I could definitely see a judge scoring it 117, 111. So overall, I believe that Canelo Alvarez will beat Billy Joe Saunders in a competitive fight, and the scorecards will read from 115 to 113 or 116 to 112. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.